All right, guys, back on Southeastern 16 with Max Barr previewing Tuesday night's action in SEC basketball, which is probably the not the most exciting slate for probably most SEC fans, just because you don't have a lot of those, top 25 top matchups. We do have one, but you also have a couple others that, for different reasons, maybe not the most anticipated games. But we start with Oklahoma at Florida. The Gators, as we know, are doing pretty well right now. That game, by the way, 6 p.m. Central on ESPN2. The Gators are a juggernaut at this point. They just got, another 7-footer added into the rotation with the return of Micah Hanlog. Then he played 20 minutes in their game on Saturday against South Carolina. The number 2 team in the country. We're recording this before the poll comes out, but I'm telling you right now, they're going to be the number 2 team in the country. And meanwhile, Oklahoma, team heading in the wrong direction when it comes to their NCAA tournament hopes. They've lost 4 in a row, 4 or 5 of 6 now, I think. And, sitting at 3-9 in the SEC, Max, as we said, it's kind of at a point now for Oklahoma where the only way you're making the NCAA tournament is if you win games. And the problem with that is they probably have the second or third toughest schedule left in the SEC, which begins with this game in Gainesville.
We've been spoiled this year, Blake, with the slates that we've been given. There have been some loaded slates. Maybe not so much this one's going to be some lopsided spreads. KenPom has this as a 15-point win for Florida. I'll be honest. I think this one, if it's not decided in the front court, I'll be surprised. Kind of talking about if Oklahoma is able to go to Florida and match their front court, that's got to be an effort like no other. And, maybe they do. Maybe they have a little bit of extra juice after the meltdown late against LSU. Maybe Moser has fired the boys up, and Jalen Moore and Godwin's not a bad offensive rebounder. Maybe you get some good minutes out of Wagi, just kind of another body to try to soften the blow against the Gators front court. That's what I'm going to be looking at first, because it's just on paper and to the eye test. Major weakness here for the Sooners front court wise going against Florida. If that doesn't decide the game, I think you just get a phenomenal effort and energy from Oklahoma, because on paper, Blake, it's pretty one-sided.
Yeah, I think this is one of those games where, again, if you're trying to craft an upset, to me, it's just desperation for Oklahoma. Like knowing that they have to find some wins somewhere. This is probably not going to be the easiest of the bunch, without a doubt, just based on the fact that it's on the road. We talked about how good Florida's been at home this season. And, Oklahoma still gets 3 home games left against Mississippi State, Kentucky, Missouri. Probably, you would think, statistically a better chance of an upset in one of those games than it would happen here. And it's just, I think you said it, the front court difference here, I think, is going to be pretty glaring based on what we've talked about, just how this Florida front court. Remember, we came into the season saying Florida's guard group is going to be one of the best in the country, one of the best in the SEC. We said, we'll see how the rotation looks front court wise. We like a lot of these guys. We just don't know what the rotation is going to look like. And now we're looking at it and saying, well, come on, they're easily one of the best front courts out there too. So that's why the Gators, again, are one of the best teams in the country, a national title, one of the national title favorites at this point. There's no question about it. Look, we're going to get to picks, and you guys have watched this before. You know who we're picking. We'll make it official. But I think this is just one, again, if you're looking at it from Oklahoma's standpoint, to win games like this on the road against a team like Florida, you're just going to have to find a way to just have like a season best shooting performance or something like that, probably. But it's just like there's not a lot of paths, I think, to beating this Florida team. I just don't think there is, because we say it, Max, all the time. They're top 10 offense and defense, and just the way they play, like they just don't have any obvious weaknesses. Or even like we said, they've had basically one game all season where they've not played well, and that was the Tennessee game on the road. But even in the 2 losses to Missouri and Kentucky, they played some good basketball there. And so I don't know with Oklahoma. I just think they've got to have one of those 14 of 25 performances from 3 or something. That's probably their best path here.
Jeremiah Fierce has got to take care of the ball in this one. Has played 5 games in February, negative assist to turnover ratio in all 5. In the past 3 games, it's been against Tennessee, Missouri, LSU. 1 assist, 5 turnovers, 1 assist, 3 turnovers, 1 assist, 3 turnovers. They need more creation out of Fears because Florida just happens to have the number 3 3-point defense in the nation. And that has held up in SEC play, still holding SEC opponents under 30% from 3. Madness. That's Oklahoma's chance, right? They can light it up. They have in some games. They've got guys that can go in microwave heat check moments. You're going against one of the best 3-point defenses and one of the most relentless front courts. I just think it's a nightmare matchup for the Sooners. I'm going Florida here.
Yeah, I will pick Florida too, as you pointed out, and I said they've got to have Oklahoma. That is a great 3-point shooting performance. The problem is when you look at the numbers, it does not line up. No one has made more than 7 threes against Florida except for, this is the wild stat, South Carolina over the past month is the only team that's made more than 7 3-pointers against Florida. Just think about that, right? South Carolina is the only team in that range, and the Gamecocks shoot 32% from 3. So, yes, I don't like the matchup for Oklahoma. I think Florida rolls in this one. All right, on to the next one. This is the game of the night, without question. Texas A&M hits the road to head to the hump to play Mississippi State, 6 p.m. on the SEC Network. This is a fun game for a lot of reasons. We mentioned the power rankings this week. Texas A&M has lost 1 game over the past month, and that was a game where they led and by double digits against Texas on the road before losing at the buzzer. That's the only game they've lost over the past month. Meanwhile, Mississippi State seemingly got their season back on track on Saturday with the double-digit 10-point win at Ole Miss to sweep the season series against the Rebels. We've mentioned it. Mississippi State has certainly been a bit up and down over the past month or so themselves. A&M's been more consistent. But you look at the schedule Mississippi State's played. They played a lot of tough teams, and you would think that kind of prepares them here for what should be, I would fully expect, to be a bounce-back home performance after back-to-back home games where they just were not competitive at times against Missouri and Florida. And so you would think Mississippi State feeling a little bit better about themselves, coming back home, wanting to prove that despite having 4 home losses in SEC play, they're better than that in Starkville.
Yeah, I really liked what I saw on Saturday from Mississippi State, especially leading into an A&M game. I love having a game where you had really nice physicality right before. Yep. They win the rebounding battle, win the physicality battle on the road. Really like that. Cam Matthews with one of his stat sheet stuffing games. You only needed 18 minutes out of Keshawn Murphy, and it was really balanced. That's what I like for Mississippi State. As much as we love Josh Hubbard, we absolutely love him, they are better when everyone's getting a piece of the pie, when everyone's kind of making some shots. You get a little bit of Melendez, a little bit of Kugel. That's when Mississippi State's at their best, and I think they really clicked on Saturday. I think that carries over, too. When you look at the matchup, what have we been saying for Mississippi State? Blake, you've been all over it, really. The 3-point line. Mississippi State has not been able to defend it to save their lives. It's been unbelievable how many 3-pointers teams are making against them. Even at home, on the road, doesn't matter. Well, hey, probably won't have to worry about that. Probably won't have to worry about that.
You say that.
I say it. I know.
A&M's hit 11 and 12 in 2 of their last 4 games. They hit 11 on the road against South Carolina for 48% in that game. 12 of 23 in that game against Texas, we mentioned, 52% there. But only 2 other times this season have they made more than 9. That was lost to Oregon, 11 of 35 in that game, 12 of 26 against Lamar. So this is not a great shooting team. That's what it comes down to with A&M. And when you do look at A&M's numbers, they continue to boggle the mind when it comes to their offensive efforts and the fact that they've won 20 of their 25 games this season. They are 307th in the country in 3-point percentage. They are 256th in 2-point percentage. They are 294th in free throw percentage. They are 292 in effective field goal percentage, 221 in turnover percentage. This is the number 6 overall seed right now in the NCAA tournament, an obvious and clear number 2 seed. But they're doing it, of course, with defense and offensive rebounding, and that has been a great combination that the Aggies have had to work with. Of course, they're also very experienced, too. We talk about that. playing a role, especially when they get in some of these tight games. You see kind of that experience take over a bit for Texas A&M. Mississippi State, obviously another team that's a bit older in terms of the guys they're going to play. But again, I think A&M's kind of experience in these kind of games does make you look at them and feel like, all right, this is a Mississippi State team that has gotten back on track seemingly with the win against Ole Miss, but A&M just seemingly is always kind of, they're always able to find ways, like even the Missouri game, right? We talked about that one. And I know you're not going to believe this, Max, but when you look at kind of the recent series history between these two, they play a lot of games in the 60s or lower. Last year, I think it was 75-69. The Texas A&M won that game in College Station. In Starkville the year before, 69-62, 67-64, 63-57, 56-55. So you would kind of expect that to probably be the case here based on, how these two teams play. Probably a bit of a lower scoring type game, even though we've seen the two teams get out and go a bit in terms of their offense at times.
Yeah, the difference between A&M last year and this year defensively, last year they were number one in the SEC in defensive rebounding. They still are this year, and number one in offense. So they still have that rebounding down. But last year they were 8th in the SEC in turnover rate. This year they're 1st. I think that's that's Zerk Phelps coming in. So not only are they keeping you to one possession, but they're turning you over 20% of the time also. So it's just that combination of rebounding, offensive rebounding. We're going to try to get more chances also, but we're not going to give you extra opportunities, and we're also going to make it just hell inside, swiping at the ball, clawing. Zerk Phelps getting out and running in those low-scoring games, 60, low 70s. That's when a few turnovers can really make the difference. But Ken Palm's got this as a 1-point game. 1-point game.
All right, before we make picks, question. Who attempts more shots, Josh Hubbard or Wade Taylor?
I'll say, I was going to say Hubbard, but they just were so balanced in the last game.
But A&M can be too, though. I think Hubbard too. I'm going to go Hubbard. Because I think, again, you could kind of just... I'll say this quickly before we make our picks. If there's a trend that you really like to see if you're Mississippi State and Chris Jans coming into this game and doing it the game before against Ole Miss, that was the rebounding prowess of this Mississippi State team. We said they just dominated the glass in that game against Ole Miss. So you want to see if that carries over. Let's see who we're going to pick in this one, Max. Which quickly, our picks, our updates. I've got to be in the lead now because I picked Auburn over Alabama.
You're up
right?
by 2.
So
you're up by 2.
No, I moved up by 2 over you. Okay.
Because
all right.
I picked Mississippi State at home against Florida.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Okay. Well, This could be interesting then. Let's see where we go here. I need to play it safe perhaps and pick whoever you pick, but let's find out.
You guys know these are my 2 teams. This is a tough one for me.
It's a tough one. Yeah.
I love both of these teams. I really do. Some of my favorite players on both these teams. As much as I want to pick the Aggies, Mississippi State going to lose 4 straight home games? Can't be. Just can't be. Hail State here. They just got right on Saturday. Momentum, confidence is back. Energy's back. The building will be popping again. 4 straight home games? No way. Mississippi State.
I'm playing the numbers too. This is what I was thinking coming into it. I didn't know if you'd be on the same page. I'm just like, can they really lose a 4 straight home game? It's really hard to believe, right? So because of that, I'm going to pick Mississippi State too. But again, I said it a minute ago. We've seen A&M. How many close games this team just keep finding ways to win, right? They have the 1-point win at Ole Miss, the 4-point win at South Carolina, the 3-point win at Missouri. They lost by 1 at Texas, as we said. They won by 2 at Oklahoma. So it's just they play a lot of close games on the road. You would expect this one to be close. And I don't know. I'm like, those percentages have to catch up with A&M at some point in one of these games, right? But we also are thinking A&M's going to come out and go 14 of 28 from 3 here, aren't they?
Of course.
They're going to exploit that Mississippi State weakness defensively from 3. But I'm picking the Bulldogs too in the spot. So.
Exciting game.
Speaking of, probably not a great transition.
Yes.
South Carolina at LSU.
Game of the
Look,
year.
let's call it what it is. These two teams have struggled this season. We've mentioned it many times. 8 p.m. Central start, SEC Network. But if you are looking at some storylines here, obviously you would think this is South Carolina's best chance to probably get that first SEC win because LSU, also sitting here at 2-10 in the league, not been the most consistent team. But we also mentioned the power rankings this week. LSU a chance to build a little bit of confidence up here after that, kind of stunning comeback win at Oklahoma to get the victory on Saturday. So, I think this is an important game for both teams just from the standpoint of, hey, the direction of the program moving forward, the confidence level in the fan base, like it's certainly a little down for both, you would say right now, but at least maybe a little opportunity here for one of these teams to feel a little better about themselves heading into, the final 5 games of the season.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Corey Chest plays. He was out last
Yep.
game with back spasms, and that's just a kind of a day-to-day thing. You don't
Yeah,
really
those are,
know,
yeah.
and he could play, jumps weird, lands weird. He only plays 2 minutes, now he's out, something like that. Doesn't really come to bite you against Oklahoma, one of the weaker front courts. However, against South Carolina, you're going to need Corey Chest. You're going to need Corey Chest in a game against South Carolina. South Carolina, the one thing that they can do is kind of impose their physicality with the front court. So keep an eye on that, because not only does the rebounding take a hit without Chest, but also the rim protection takes a little bit of a hit without Chest. You already don't have Jalen Reed. That's implied. You getting some good minutes from the freshman Robert Miller. Damian Collins has been pretty steady, but against South Carolina, with how they just relentlessly feed Pringle and Boyles and rack up opposing front court fouls, no Chest here could be the difference.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's certainly a big part, given, like we said, how South Carolina plays, and I do think that's going to be a big thing. And I mean, like we said, if you're looking at the percentages for both of these teams, I mean, we always talk about the Christmas tree of Ken Palm, like the green and the red. There's not a lot of green here when it comes to what these teams do particularly well, and I think that's where like the difference is going to be. Who's the takeover player here, right? Is it Cam Carter? Is it Colin Murray Boyles? Like who? How does that sort of balance out? Honestly, Max, I don't have a lot more on this game. Like I just think this is one where, like we said, both teams are struggling. We know that LSU is coming off a nice win. They're the home team here. South Carolina on the road. If we list off some of those results, 88-67 loss at Florida, 80-57 loss at Kentucky, 71-60 loss at Georgia, 82-62 loss at Oklahoma, 66-63 loss at Vanderbilt, 85-50 loss at Mississippi State. That's their road performances this season in SEC play for the Gamecocks. Let's see if that plays into picks here.
Yeah, and even in that, you're looking at like, okay, at Georgia, they could probably have a chance in that game. They didn't lead for a single second in South Carolina. It's been pretty stark, the contrast between home and road splits for the Gamecocks. I think they've got a chance here, though, if Chest is out. And I think they know it, too. If you're Lamont Paris, South Carolina, you got a chance at this one. You just want to get one on the board. But LSU, they should, I know we play the shoulda game a lot, but they should have beat Ole Miss at home. Yeah. They should be on back-to-back home wins here against Ole Miss and Oklahoma. They've got a home win against Arkansas already. That was when Arkansas was a lot worse. But still, this has been a team that's been pretty good at home. But I'm going to go South Carolina. I think that they're going to know this is one that they can get. You're going to play their hearts out. Corey Chest, back spasms. Not ideal against Murray Boyles and Pringle. I'll take a chance.
I like it. I'm going to give you a chance to gain a game up here because I will pick LSU at home because of what you said. They've actually played pretty well at home these past couple games, and coming off a win at Oklahoma, maybe that gives them a little spark here. So I'll pick LSU in this one, nice. But you guys should all be picking bracket bids when it comes to your March experience when you fill out your bracket. We keep telling you about our friends at Bracket Bids. You can take your college hoops experience to the next level with them by entering that free pick'em contest or start an auction draft league with your friends, family, or coworkers. Everyone starts with the same bidding dollars. You get to outwit and outbid your league mates to secure the teams you think will go the distance in the tournament. Choose from multiple scoring models, including the upset bonuses, and rewards bold picks, which, again, we like our bold picks here at Southeastern 16. Track your teams with live in-game scoring. Watch the standing shift in real time. Further your team's advance, the higher you climb the league standings. For league play, use that promo code SC16 for 40% off. SC16, 40% off. Download the Bracket Bids app today or visit them at bracketbids.com. All right, we appreciate you guys watching. We'll have a reaction to the games on Tuesday night, probably on Wednesday morning. And again, everything else on the channel, check it out. Thanks as always for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Southeastern 16.